Valorant Champions is the final event of the VCT circuit and the culmination of the struggles, the upsets, the drama, and the amazing matches we've had. Today we will overview every team that has qualified for the final tournament of the year and discuss who will forever be remembered as the champions of the 2023 season. This is Valorant Champions.
He definitely wants to close that gap. Oh my, one pass. Zeta finds one. Thousands upon thousands is down to a 1v4 and it's done! Ascend! He did it in the shadows. Surprising shot. Vai ficar ser o bico, o bem pra cima dele! Aonde?
Zeta Division's back, and in better form than the last time we saw them. Zeta really benefited from the newest patch and gave us the last that we saw a year ago at Reykjavik. The leader that isn't afraid of being aggressive. But how did they do it? Easy. The Frenchman has returned. Chamber recently got a buff to his kit and has brought the Asian back to life. And this has been the buff Zeta Division needed, as last placed in the top 10 players for LCQ Pacific in terms of kills. 74 kills, 18 multi-kills, 16 op kills, and a 1.17 rating at Grand Finals. This team looks good, only dropping 2 maps at LCQ. Granted, it was against RRQ in secret, but impressive given that they were about to give the Japanese fans a heart attack after the first map. A 2-4 loss. I'm excited to see Zeta back on the international stage, and I know the fans want to see them go far, but can they? I'm not sure. I think there's much to prove, and this is just a theme with a lot of LCQ teams. Sure, you've made it here, but can you rise up to the occasion, or will you just be a flash in the pan because you look good against lesser teams at LCQ? Only time will tell. T1 had an underwhelming performance at Masters Tokyo. Against EDG, they had a close game going 13-10 on Fracture, 7-13 on Haven, and 14-12 overtime on Pearl. And they struggled quite a bit considering how unpredictable and aggressive EDG's pace is. Against NRG, they put up a good fight on Lotus and won 13-11, but couldn't pull their weight on Bind, losing 7-13, and on Pearl they almost upset NRG, but fell short 11-13. In the elimination match against EDG, they performed terribly, only winning 4 defense rounds on Fracture, 4-13, and then continuing the bad momentum, losing 6-13 on Haven. This was a really hard group for T1, and they have shown that they are above average in their own region, but up against the top teams from other international circuits, you have to be better than above average. This team has potential, it's just not their time yet. Geez man, get your act together. You were almost undefeated in the regular season, you had a decent showing in Pacific playoffs, and now you decide it's the right time to have an identity crisis? Losing to EG was embarrassing. You didn't even put up a fight. Against Fut, you decided to not troll and actually managed to beat them like the team we know you can beat. Against Paper Rex, you bombed and they didn't even have something. They had CGRS in as a sub. When faced against NRG, the first map looks like you were gonna have a great match. 11-13 on Pearl, which by the way, NRG almost fumbled. And then on Haven, you absolutely collapsed. 5-13. I am so tired of seeing this team fail. Everybody loves this team. And in an effort to search for a new identity with Foxy9, which by the way you don't commit to, you fall back on Zest. Decide, do you want to rely on the old core of this team, or do you have the balls to change up the roster? Take a chance on a new lineup, because subbing players in and out is a detriment to team chemistry and the self-worth of Foxy9 and Zest. Paper Rex impressed everybody with the run they had. The whole group stage, people were biting their nails in anticipation of the possibility that something was going to play. As if he was going to show up to their first match like Kota Ibushi did at AEW Blood and Guts. But unlike EG's Demon 1, something was not able to resolve his visa issues for Masters Tokyo. So, how did Paper Rex do with CGRS? Incredibly well, actually. This team beat DRX, lost to Fnatic, beat EDG, had an incredible match with NRG, and then had another banger match with Evil Geniuses. But that was the end of the tournament run. And I gotta say, for a team that was missing a player, they looked great. CGRS had his moments that came out of nowhere. Devi and Jing were carrying this team, and when it wasn't Jing fragging out, Devi picked up the ball. I think Mindfreak and Forsaken underperformed a bit, but it wasn't like they were doing bad. While the tournament didn't end the way they wanted to, their showing was impressive. Paper Rex is going into Champions as one of the teams with a high possibility to win it all. They got 3rd place at Masters Tokyo with a substitute, and this has fueled the minds of fans and analysts into the idea that with something, they could dethrone Fnatic and finally win their first international title. For the cruise segment of this video, I've brought in my good friend Esports Andy to tell you about America's LCQ winner. Andy, take it away.
So after starting the season with a horrible 0-10 record, the bottom feeders of the Americas League, Crew, pulled off one of the greatest Cinderella runs in Valorant after winning 5 matches consecutively against MIBR, Furia, Cloud9, and Leviathan twice to win the LCQ and clinch their ticket to Los Angeles. And they hardly even broke a sweat, finishing off the event favorites, C9, on Haven, 13-6. So what changed for this team to warrant such an insane run, and can they carry it on to the biggest event of the year? Crew during their run benefited from their veteran players like Klaus and Kesnet stepping up big time to close out maps, which was their biggest issue all throughout the season. In matches against both league leaders, Loud and Cloud9 in the regular season, they were able to take them to map 3, something that you wouldn't expect from a team that was at the bottom of the standings. This makes sense for Crew though if you've been following the Valorant competitive scene for a while, as Crew are no strangers to pulling off the craziest underdog runs, as in the 2021 Champions tournament, they were able to make it to the semi-finals of the event where they fell to Gambit, the winners of the previous Masters event. At the time, they were not considered a major threat in the tournament, but after beating the OG Sentinels roster in a dramatic map 3, Crew and Cinderella runs have been a part of their identity since then, and this Champions will be no different. They will need all the magic they had in the LCQ though if they want to make it through Group A, where they'll have to battle it out with Paper Rex, Edward Gaming, and Giants Gaming for 2 of the spots in playoffs. Not an easy task for any team, but Crew has proven that nothing is impossible for this Chilean roster. The sky's the limit for the team representing South NA, and yes, as a true American, I'll claim them for my own region.
Thank you, Andy. Make sure to check out his channel in the annotations or in the link in the description below. As some of my subscribers know, this is my team. And I know I shouldn't be complaining as we did get 4th place, which isn't too bad. But man, does it ever feel frustrating that this team isn't living up to their championship potential. Their 2 losses at Masters Tokyo came from their match against Fnatic, who dominated them, and Paper Rex, who they lost to in a very close match. Victor, Crashes, and FNS are the rocks of this team, and their foundation is very strong. Som is a star in the making, and while Artist is a solid duelist, I still haven't felt the impact we were expecting from him. Unfortunately for Som, he will forever have to live with one of the craziest losses of all time, and every NRG fan has to as well. Roll the clip.
For the kill, there's not enough time to go for the plan. He's swinging around the corner, and he manages to get it done! Some with a shorty doesn't find.
While this looks like it was major trolling, I'm not gonna be too harsh on Som. It was his first Masters event. I could come out here as an NRG fan and say they're gonna win Champions, but I'm not. The missing piece for me is a star duelist who will carry this team to the top, and unfortunately Artist and Victor are not it. This team has the potential to get 4th to 2nd place. But with the level of EG, Paper Rex, and Fnatic, I can't say for certain that they'll bring the trophy back to Americas. Regardless, I'm still going to be rooting for my boys, win or lose. Damn, what happened to Loud? They looked unstoppable in the regular season against America's team. And all of a sudden, they can't handle Evil Geniuses or Edward Gaming? To see them go that early in the tournament was a shock to me and Brazilian fans. Did Aspas have visa issues? Because he didn't show up to Masters Tokyo. Aspas had a positive KD in only 2 maps on different matches. And he was playing Neon on Fracture and Lotus, which was bizarre knowing he's a top 3 Jet player in the world right now. Right there with Demon 1 and Durka. The strats by Sadak and Frauds looked incredibly flat. Les looked like he had no aggression, and aside from that one map that Tuiz played decently, the rookies look like shit. Seeing them weak at this time is especially concerning as Aspas's contract is up at the end of the year. If we see a poor performance by Loud here at Champions, this could be the potential beginning of the end for the Brazilian super team. And don't even think about Saucy, Pankara, Aspas, and Les and Sadak reunion, because we all know there's some beef with Les and Saucy on how to run the team. And now there might be some Les Aspas beef as well. The miracle run that almost won a trophy. Almost. This team went from being on the brink of elimination to being helped by MIBR to qualify for playoffs, and then going on a great run to qualify for Tokyo. At Masters Tokyo, they were the equivalent of Jethro Tull's Locomotive Breath, a train that could not be stopped. They beat Loud 2-0, Team Liquid 2-0. They took one map off Fnatic, and they beat Paper Rex in arguably the game of the tournament. Unfortunately, their rematch against Fnatic did not go how they wanted to. They couldn't even get one map off Fnatic, only coming close on Split and Bind. This team performed above everybody's expectations, and at every stage of the year, they were doubted, and Demon 1 and company kept proving them wrong. At Champions, I expect them to improve even further. Call me crazy, but it's no accident or coincidence that this team has become better and better. Potter is becoming a goated coach, and as long as they keep innovating and adapting to other teams, this squad will go far. I underestimated this team quite a lot, and they even had a decent run at Last Chance Qualifier. Giants beat Koi and Carmine Corp to qualify for Champions. I don't want to be overly optimistic about this team because the path for them to get here was a lot easier than other LCQ teams and teams that qualified via playoffs. To give context to this claim, in the regular seasons, Giants' records was 5-4, and with better teams like Fnatic, Liquid, and their neighboring 5-4 teams Fut already qualified for Champions, the only real challenge left for them is NAVI. And because NAVI lost their first match, they didn't even get to play them for LCQ. I don't want to talk badly about them, and I actually think Futinho has a lot of potential to be a great duelist, but there is a lot to prove against other teams that are above average. Man, what on God's green earth was Angel cooking at Masters Tokyo? In my video about Tokyo, I said there was a possibility that they were saving strats for Masters, and wow, did that not turn out to be the case. This team took one map off of NRG and lost 0-2 to EDG. How far from grace have you fallen? And to be honest, there's no reason for this to be happening. You have Xiao, Zipan, Sugetsu, Angel, all Masters Copenhagen winners, and CNED, who is a Champions winner. The blame, from my perspective, falls on either the coaching staff, Angel, or a combination of both. You are so lucky Fnatic have saved your ass time and time again, because if EMEA didn't have a 4th or a 5th slot, you might not even be here. Get your act together. You make DRX's issue look meaningless by comparison. I didn't have any expectations for this Turkish team, but I can't say that I'm shocked to see them leave in the group stage. Facing EG after their impressive run in America's playoffs was like going up against a train with no brakes. 0-2 against a team that couldn't lose. Against Attacking Soul Esports, we got exactly what everyone expected, and after a slow start on Haven, Fut was able to beat Attacking Soul Esports 13-5 on Ascent and 13-6 on Haven. Against DRX, they upset them on Bind 13-9, but progressively got worse on Fracture 8-13 and Haven 4-13 to end their run at Tokyo. Thanks to Fnatic winning all the advantages for the extra region slots this year, NAVI trolling EMEA playoffs, and Fut placing higher than NAVI, Fut are qualified for Champions. This team isn't on the level of other EMEA teams, and it shows with their struggle to be consistent. There is upset potential in this team, but I wouldn't count on it. Team Liquid are the winners of the regular season for EMEA. After beating Fnatic, this team was riding a lot of momentum, and even I was on the hype train. So, how did they perform at Masters Tokyo? Despite their momentum in EMEA playoffs, they seemingly struggled in their first game against EDG. Haven resulted in a 13-9, their second map they lost 8-13, and on Lotus they squeaked out a win 13-11. Then, against Evil Geniuses they could not keep up at all. They got destroyed 2-13 on Fracture, and on Haven they lost 9-13 to be sent to the losers bracket. Against NRG on Haven, they were about to win the first map on round 19, but NRG made a hell of a comeback, winning the next 7 in a row. On Ascent they won 13-8, and on Split they fell apart, losing 5-13 to be eliminated. This team was supposed to be one of the top teams at Masters Tokyo, but they showed a very mediocre version of what this team can be. I still stand as a safe believer. He can be great. With teammates like Yampy and Nats, there is no reason this team can't be contenders. They continue to be an enigma of potential. There's no denying this team is incredible. Being the first team to win back-to-back championships is very impressive. The only loss they had was to Team Liquid, and that's not for one tournament, that's for the whole year. In my Tokyo video, I said that losing at EMEA playoffs was the worst time to lose, but looking back, that actually might have been the best time to lose the game. See the areas that you're weak at and fix them. And they did. At Tokyo, they were basically unstoppable and proved that they are currently the best team in the world. I really want to hate Fnatic, but seeing Boaster be so humble and nice to the fans after the event and making attempts to meet and greet with everybody makes it impossible to say anything bad about him or the team. Because Fnatic have been so strong, I don't see them losing easily at Champions. The only teams to have brought a fight to them the whole year were Loud and Team Liquid. If no one can step into the elite realm that this team is operating at, they might be a 3-time consecutive winner. The China Champions qualifier was the only way for Chinese teams to compete in Champions Los Angeles. 12 teams participated in the event and only 3 could qualify. Edward Gaming, Billi Billi Gaming, FunPlus Phoenix, and Attacking Soul Esports were all given buys based on their performances throughout the year. The 3 teams that qualified for Champions were Billi Billi Gaming, FPX, and of course, EDG. Billi Billi Gaming is the team you're probably least familiar with, and that's because they fell short of qualifying for Tokyo in the last China Invitational. And this time, they managed to climb up to second place, only losing to EDG. FPX, who is not the same FPX as the former EMEA team, went on a crazy lower bracket run, and had their tournament ended by Billi Billi Gaming. And EDG went on an undefeated run to assert their dominance over the Chinese region, dropping only 1 map to Billi Billi Gaming. I think that the Chinese teams are on the rise, Kang and EDG being the strongest with the potential of a crazy run at Champions, and Billi Billi Gaming and FPX showing some potential to upset some of the middle pack teams that are well known. I think China has a chance to show off at this international stage. This might be one of the most stacked Champions event of all time, and possibly one of the more predictable as well. While I think that there are some awesome stories like the rebound of Loud, EG's revenge, or Zeta and EDG's possible Cinderella runs, there is a large cloud of doubt looming over everybody in Fnatic. They look far too dominant, and even in grand finals of Tokyo, they didn't really look like they were breaking a sweat. Here are my predictions for all the group stages, and the team I have winning this event is Fnatic. While I may not like it, I have to acknowledge that they are above everybody else. Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know in the comments below, and if you could leave me a like and a subscribe, I'll be delivering content in the off season related to VCT news, Valorant lore videos, and dabbling in some other esports. Until next time, thank you and have a good day.